Alright, now it's Friday, April the 14th, and it's almost 7:30 in the evening, and I've been working all day, fixing leaks, putting in new T-fittings with new tubing, and this tubing is larger in diameter than what I had been using, and you can see here a section that I cut out of this tubing right here, and you can see how these things were plugging up, and they might have done better if this line was a 3/4 line instead of a half. I don't know, but nevertheless, this line is an 1/8 inch inside diameter, and these lines are 1/4 inch inside diameter, and so right there you can see a big plug that washed out of this line right here. That's the kind of stuff that I had coagulating in the lines. But anyway, I worked all day and I've got everything going, all my buckets going. But anyway, with these larger lines, I had to figure out a way to choke the stream down, because it was just too much. By the time the pressure would get to the end of the line, then there wasn't any pressure. Wasn't any back pressure. So a little bit of redneck engineering here, and use a plastic coat hanger and drill a hole in it, 1/8 of an inch hole, and that one there's slightly plugged up already. But anyway, you can see how it's working here. Alright, so the previous video I showed you how that I set out the method that I was using to set out my cucumbers, and I'm doing this on all of them now, as you can see. And so day one, or night one, as I said, this is April the 14th. It's about 7:30, so in about 3 hours, 10:30-ish after dark, we'll make 48 hours, 2 days, since I set these out and started this way. Now let me show you something. You look down in there, you see a little white dot? They're sprouting, you see that? One of them had actually sprouted in 24 hours. And I forget the camera lens is not in the center of the phone. It's up on the corner. That's why I kind of have to feel around here and get them lined up. But you can see they're sprouting. See there? And as far as I know, every one of them, knock on wood, every one of them has sprouted. And so you get the picture. So we'll keep checking on this day by day. I probably won't attach the next video day after day, maybe 2 or 3 days apart, just to see how this does. But anyway, that's what we're trying. That's what I'm working on. This is what I've accomplished today, and boy, am I tired. So it's time to go to the house and get some supper. So we'll check at you in the next video. Okay, so it's April the 19th. It's about 8:30 p.m. and I just got in from work and came down to check on the greenhouse. And you remember that we had set out the cucumbers, and I wanted to show you progress. And I do have a couple that not really showing much signs of life yet, so I don't know if they're just not going to germinate or what. And here's another one right here. But most of them have sprouted up, and there's one right there absent. And So far they're doing pretty good. All the tomatoes that we got set out and the peppers. Some of them are starting to show some signs of life. There's one right there that is sprouting. These are the Dorothy Orange variety here. So anyway, I'll keep you updated and see how the tomatoes, if they start sprouting up, we'll see how fast they grow. So far the cucumbers are looking real nice, other than 2 or 3 that I might have to replant. So alright, until the next video, we'll see you. Alright, this is Friday, April the 28th. This is morning time, and I wanted to kind of give you an update. And right off the top of my head, I don't remember the date of the last video segment, but if you're watching the video, then you know when it is. But wanted to look at how the cucumbers are doing. And now I had 3 or 4 that either didn't come up, or like this one right here, I think it came up and was growing upside down. And that's a really oddity to me, but it does happen. So I've replanted them, and as you can see, it is germinating. But you can see how these are growing. And the ones that I didn't have to replant are just, they're looking beautiful. And of course, now you have to keep in mind also, we've come through several days, consecutive days, where we've had really cold. Hang on a minute. Turn those off for just a few minutes. And let's see, it is 81 degrees in here already. The sun just barely coming through the clouds. We had rain last night, and as I was saying, we've had several consecutive days of really cool weather, and even a couple of mornings ago we had a pretty heavy frost on. And so for these cucumbers to be growing as they are is really nice. This one right here has got a little bit of leaf curl on the end of it. But anyway, you can look, see how they're growing. And so those are the Russian, that row there's the Russian, and these are the early, I already forgot the name again, but the early something. And then I think it was the last segment of the video that I had got all of the tomatoes and peppers planted. And all of the tomatoes came up except for 2. One, and you can see that bucket right there, there's nothing. There's one of the Cherokee Purple, and then there's one over here, this one right here of the Black Creme that didn't come up. So I'll have to replant those. This one here, it's a little bit behind, but it's growing. It looks nice. It's growing. And then with this row right here, what I did, now the Black Creme and the Cherokee Purple over there that we just looked at, as well as the peppers in the back, I purchased those seeds from Seed Savers. And this row right here, these are the Dorothy Orange variety, and that's an heirloom. But it was created by a person that lived in this area years ago. And because I can't purchase those, from an online entity, then I saved the seeds to start these. And because that I saved the seeds, I planted several in every net pot, just in the, for the potential to make sure that at least one of them would germinate. And it looks like every single one of them came up. So I'll have to go back and do some plucking. Like this one here, there's 4 there. And I believe there's 4 in that one. But it seems like every seed I put in germinated. So that gives me hope on my method of preserving seeds anyway. And now this one here has only got 1, so maybe there was a seed there that didn't germinate, but like I said, I planted several, so at least get 1. in every pot. And here again we've got, I need to turn that where that's not hitting directly on the plant. So we've got 4 there. And we've got 2 in that one. And come down to the end here, we've got 3. We've got 3 in this one. But again, in spite of the cool weather that we've been experiencing, so far, knock on wood, everything is growing very nicely. And so I just wanted to update you on that. Here's one that I'm going to have to, that's one I need to replant. I also need to clear the feed line here. You can see I was just dribbling. So it's pretty well blocked. And I knew it was, but I haven't done anything to it because it's still enough to keep it wet to germinate the seed. But anyway, I'll have to replant 2 or 3, which again, I did. This one here, it's germinating. I'll go around here and look at this one. And I can't tell for sure. Can't really see down in there. But it'll take a couple days yet to see whether or not that's going to germinate. And this one here, likewise, I don't see any germination there. But again, we'll see. And there's some more of that leaf curl on that. And again, because I don't know what I'm doing, I don't really know what's causing that. It's like leaf burn or something. So anyway, this is a learning process, and so we'll update growth in the next segment. So we'll see in a few days then what kind of progress you're making. All right, thank you. All right, another little update. It is Monday, May the 8th, evening, late evening-ish. Anyway, I wanted to show you how these cucumbers have grown. And here's one that was late to the party, but it's coming out of there like gangbusters. So most of them are big enough, and they're putting out tendrils, as you can see here. And they'll grab the string and climb. But they're doing beautifully. And I still have a couple that just did not. That one there, and that one there. Even though I put a new, different, another seed, replanted, whatever you want to call it, they didn't come up. So I'm going to have to dump those pots out and clean them, and just start fresh with those. So the tomato plants, as you can see, they're looking very nice. And the peppers I'm disappointed in. That's I only had one pot that sprouted, and there was actually 2. None of the others have even sprouted. So what I'll probably end up doing is going over to the greenhouse and maybe getting a half dozen plants and wash the dirt off the roots and set them in these pots. I done that last year with some tomato plants, and they done beautifully. So I know that works too. So these are the Dorothy orange plants. You can see they're looking very nice. And I just haven't had time. I had one tomato, as I told you, I had one tomato plant on each side, one of the black cream, and then over here I had one of the Cherokee purple, which I moved that plant this morning from that bucket. I came down here this morning, and that bucket was leaking, and the bucket back in the corner was leaking. So I had to do some swap outs, and I ended up just leaving that one over there. So, but anyway, there'll be another pot that I can set there and start another plant right there. So anyway, that's how it's looking, and just wanted to show you the progress on them. So we'll catch you on the next segment. All right, it is May the 11th. It's about 9 o'clock in the evening, and we'll take a quick shot here, just a few of these plants so you can see how they've grown just in the last little bit. This one here it already fell over, which is why it's got a crook in it. It fell over and was turning up because the tendril hadn't got a hold of the string yet. There's 2 or 3 others that have done that, but you can see how they're just kind of in the explosive growth phase right now. You can see how the tomato plants are doing. My hand I've got about a 9-inch spread on my hand, so you can see about how tall that is. All right, we'll see how much they've grown the next time we look. Thanks for watching. All right, the next little update here. It is May the 13th, Saturday. It's almost noon, and I've been working, and I did what I said I was going to. I went over to the greenhouse this morning and got 6 pepper plants, and just washed the potting soil away from the roots and set them in the net pots. With the exception of, if you remember, there was one right there that had 2 little plants that had sprouted. I moved them down here into this location where one of the tomato plants didn't come up, Cherokee Purple, and I thought, well, they look pretty good, I'll give them a chance. So that's what we're doing there. And I also restarted, I reset the non-starts in the cucumbers, which was this one here and that one over there. I redid that, got those seeds out, the net pots cleaned up, and a new seed put in there. And as well, I did also the one black creme over here that didn't come up, if you remember, right here. I did it the same way. So we'll see in a few days how they, if they sprout and start coming up. But again, you can see the cucumber plants, how they are growing. Remember, my hand got about a 9-inch span on my hand. You can see how tall they are already. And all the tomato plants are looking just beautiful. And they were big enough that I was able to go around and top off the net pots with the hydroton, the little clay pebbles, to fill that up. And I got that done. So that's where we're at. And we'll catch you on the next segment. All right, this is time for another little update here. This is May the 16th. We're pretty late in the evening. I forgot to look at the time, 9-ish maybe of the evening. Been raining a whole lot today. Managed to catch a couple of my containers up on the bank here full of water today. So that was a relief. But anyway, look at the beautiful growth of these tomato plants. Aren't those just beautiful? And check out the cucumbers. Wait, let me back up so we can get it all in the screen. Check that out. Hadn't been down here just for a couple of days, and look at here. You know what those are? Those are suckers. Already, suckers that big hadn't to be removed from these plants. But just look at the way these are growing. And you remember the 2 that I restarted in the last video? Look here. Already sprouted. And this one over here has 2. I can get in where we can see it there. Yeah, you can see it down there. It's sprouted and started to come up. So these are just, so far, knock on wood, they are doing wonderfully. And of course, here's the pepper plants. Pepper picked up at the greenhouse and set out that I showed you in the last video. And I wanted to see if I can, now look there, I missed a sucker right there. See that? I'll have to snip that off. But look here. See that right there? That is a fruit. And try to get to focus. That's another one anyway, it's not focusing on it. And there's another one right in there. Move this leaf back, look right in there. And look right in here. Right there. A bloom coming out on the end of that fruit. And right down there. Another one. Look right over top of there. There's another one. There's another one right in there. So these are looking very promising. Alright, I'm going to grab my scissors and go back and snip that sucker off. And just in case you don't know, we trim the suckers off because they live up to their name. They suck nutrients away from the main vine, main stem, and the fruits. We want to keep one main stem growing. And all right, so this one right here is it's literally above my eye level just a little bit, but basically eye level already, and I'm 6'3". All right, so just wanted to give you a little update there, and here's the two peppers that came up of the original ones that I set out, and I decided I'd give them a chance. And they're very slow growing, but of course peppers are slow growing, but they're looking very healthy. I had come down and I just put in 10 gallon of nutrient solution into this reservoir right here. I got my float thing a little bit crooked here. I've got to fix me a stem on this, just not had time for this thing to travel up and down, keep it upright. Alright, so till our next segment, thanks for watching. Alright, we're back at it again. It is May the 22nd, and it's somewhere between 9:30 and 10 o'clock in the evening. And we'll take a look at how these cucumbers are growing. May have to back up some more. Open the door and step outside to get a little bit better view. But anyway, they're growing very nicely, but I've already got problems already. Got some thrips that I have found on some of the plants on that side over there, especially where those little cucumbers are blooming, no less. So I've been working on treating that with hopefully something to work. I've done that this evening. We'll see how that turns out. And you can see how my restarts are growing there. Happened over there. So there, both of those are looking real well. Or real good if you're from the country. But anyway, you can see how tall these have grown. These two right here, and look at all the little cucumbers that are blooming. And I'm trying to experiment. Those ones on the bottom right down there, I did not manually pollinate them, while some of these others I did. So it's going to be interesting to see if they pollinate themselves, if they're self-pollinated or whatever. But anyway, come up a little higher, you can see more there. This plant right here is just super remarkable because it's like at every joint there is at least 3 fruits at every joint. I've never seen one like that before. And then if we come down to some of these plants on the end down here, like this one here, it's like every blossom on it is male. So it's like you have a male plant and you have a female plant. But then there's some, and I think that's one right over there. Well, you can see right here on these, in here. See, right there's a fruit. Right there's male blossoms. So that plant can't make up its mind what gender it is. I guess that's par for the course nowadays, huh? But let me see these 2 plants right here. Let me see if I can swing this around here. I'm 6'3", so hopefully you can see how far above my head they are already. They are growing like mad. And then here's our pepper plants that I transplanted from the Garden Gate greenhouse. Shout out to them for some wonderful plants. And then the Dorothy orange tomatoes, I've already had to trellis them because they're falling over. As you can see, this one right here. But they are just beautiful, beautiful plants. And then those over there, that's the black creme. Likewise, they are looking beautiful. See a nice little sucker on that one right there. I'm going to have to trim off. All right, so we'll let it go for now and see what it looks like in a few days from now. See how its progress is going. Thanks for watching. Well, it's been a little while. Today is June the 12th, and it's late in the evening, and you can see the cucumbers have grown up to the trusses and back down, falling down, and I've had to trim the end just hopefully to stop it from growing any further. I've had a terrible time with the thrips. They've done a number on my cucumbers, but they're still bearing some. As you can see, one right there, it'll probably be ready to pick tomorrow evening. And there's another one right below it. And we've already picked several and eaten several. So in spite of the damage to the cucumber plants, we're still getting a few to eat. And the tomatoes, the tomato plants. This right here is probably 6 inches above my head. And you can see how they're just growing phenomenally. And that's with trimming out all of the suckers. You can see strewn all over the place. I'll let those dry and then sweep them up later on. And right there's another little cucumber right there. And another little one right there. There and there. But they are bearing. And that's it's not a total loss. But anyway, and it's getting kind of cramped to get through here. I may have to adjust my trellises a little. There's the one that I had to restart. If you remember, there was one that didn't come up, and I had to restart it, and that's how much it has grown. But then look at, you can see just how beautiful these plants are. And look at there, what a sucker I need to cut out of there. And I just went over these yesterday. Look at that. That needs to be cut off right there. That's a sucker. But this one's taller than the one I showed you over there. up to there. That's probably 7 foot from the floor. Of course, they don't start off from the floor, obviously. But the suckers, that's one of the things about the hydroponic. The suckers are just, they grow madly. Look right in that little crotch right there. There's 2 right there. Need to be cut out. And I went over the Dorothy Orange again today, cutting and thinning. And this is what I'm saying, like this one right here. I don't know how much you can tell about it in this video, but it's like it come up to the top and just boom, just went into a tree, a bush. And these are not bush type tomatoes. So I'm having to trim some out. I have tomatoes sitting on it, as you can see right in here. And this one here, you can tell how big it is proportionally to my hand. It's bigger than a golf ball, a little bit. Got more sitting on right up here. And there's some that I'm having a problem with blossom end rot, like right there, which I don't understand. I'm using Master Blend tomato formula, mixing it per their instructions. But anyway, hopefully we'll get some good tomatoes and take a look at the peppers, how they've grown. I'm thinking I may have to invest in a shade cloth to keep it from getting quite as hot in here as it does even with the fans running. And the peppers are starting to bloom, as you can see right there. And now, as I mentioned, the thrips. The trouble I had with the thrips. And I think a lot of this damage actually was the concoction I mixed up to spray on the plants to kill the thrips. Because I didn't spray that row, but I noticed there was some light damage over there as well, like it drifted overspray or something. So anyway, that's when I bought the insecticidal soap, which is very effective, and I didn't kill all of them. I still see one here and there, but boy, it sure put a hurting on them. But what I deduced was that, you remember the 2 air intakes I had on the back end here with these 2 fans. The intake was so violent, I think that it was sucking in the thrips and the aphids. And look at there, there's another sucker on a cucumber right there. I need to cut out right there. So what I done, I worked a day and a half or so. And if you can look up high, you can see back there in the back end, I made an air intake. I remodeled the back end here and made the air intake all the way across the back end. And I used filter grills. So now the incoming air is much more gentle, plus it's filtered. See, I have these just standard air filters like you'd use on your HVAC system. So hopefully, prayerfully, this will prevent the aphid and thrip infestation next year. I will have to continue battling them because, again, the thrips are asexual, so are the aphids. Go figure. It just takes one to self-replicate. And look at there, there's another sucker right there. Needs to be trimmed off. But anyway, this plant right here, and remember this one was the one that had anywhere from 3 to 6 cucumbers every joint, and these spots here is where I've cut off the worst of the leaves to get them out of here. And down here, they all died. And down here, the little one, I left it alone, and it grew a little bit. So it'll make 3 or 4 bites, not a total waste. But I've noticed this plant right here, even as it gets up here in the more healthy part on top, and it branches off. There was a sucker. I think I threw it away because it wouldn't be able to produce. But there was a sucker that came out, and on the first joint there were 3 cucumbers. I have never in my life seen a plant like this one. But anyway, and I'll swing you around here, make you dizzy. You can see these plants here, how they're growing, and see this look right here. This is how the suckers start. This little thing right here. And my goodness, it'll be that long tomorrow evening. Usually get in there and just break them out. But they are, and look at there, there's a big sucker right there. I didn't have the energy to go over them all again today. I did the Dorothy Orange. But this is where we're at, and there's the 2 pepper plants that came up originally that I moved down here. And they're growing pretty nicely. And they will eventually catch up with the ones in the back. So anyway, that's where we're at this evening. And there's another fruit right there. And again, these I still have to manually pollinate them because you get like right here. See if that'll focus. That is a male blossom. It has the pollen. I take a little artist brush and reach right down in there and do that and get the pollen on there. And then this is the female blossom. I don't know if that'll focus or not. But then I just stick the brush right down in there and daub that. I think they actually called it an ovary. But anyway, that pollinates the fruit, makes it grow. So I have ordered, and they've come in, I've ordered some self-pollinating seeds. And so when I take all of these out, that's what I'll go back with. And then we'll see how those do. But again, it's even as much trouble as I've had, as much damage as these plants have sustained, they're still growing. And they look fairly healthy up on top. Some of the leaves that you can see are kind of gnarly looking, drawing up like that. And I don't know what's causing that. This one right here, see how that is? They should look a lot more like this one right here, without the little light color around the edge. And even that right, this vine right here is a sucker actually from way down here. Comes up and goes way up through there, right up in the top. And I've topped it so it won't grow any further. And look, there's a fruit. There's a cucumber right in the very top of it. So anyway, I guess that's it for this evening. Just wanted to show you how these tomatoes, how they're growing. And if any of you out there have some good advice for me, again, I don't know what I'm doing. This is just trial and error with me. The T&E method. I welcome your advice. So until the next video, thanks for your time, folks. All right, it is June the 14th. It's almost 9 o'clock p.m. And just wanted to take just a minute to show you again, even as much damage as these cucumbers have sustained, that they're still producing some fruit. And I've got a little interesting right up there. Got a pear growing right up there. A couple of days those will be ready to pick. But I came down here this evening and there's another one right there. And I picked these. These are the Early Fortune. These are the Russian pickling cucumbers. I could have let that one grow some more, but I thought, yeah, it's probably not going to grow any longer. It'll just get fatter, and I'll go ahead and pick it. And so anyway, I wanted to show you that, and we'll look at the tomatoes again. So they are growing very nicely. I'm going to have to run up to the house and mix up 6 more buckets of nutrients for that reservoir and the reservoir that feeds this row right here, as they're getting low. And I'm going to try adding some lime in the reservoirs to see if that will help with the blossom end rot. So we'll see how that goes. Alright, just a little quickie here, so until our next video, thanks again for watching. That was bucket number 6. This is my funnel. That's a shower drain in the bottom. And I have a piece of pantyhose taped around. This is a filter to catch any debris. So yeah, I just put 30 gallon in the reservoir. Today is Thursday, June the 22nd, I think, if memory serves, and it's, I don't know, 8 o'clock or so in the evening. It's raining right now. You see the cucumbers are growing, again, in spite of all the damage to the plants that the thrips have caused. I just harvested 3 nice ones a while ago, and the ones we've been accumulating, Ariel has got sliced and has 2 pans full, soaking, ready to make pickles. And if you look at these tomatoes, and this one, I can reach 8 foot high by standing and reach. I can touch an 8 foot ceiling, so that's above 8 foot right there. These tomato plants are just growing wild there. But I wanted to show you this right here. And of course, here's the problem. I don't know what's causing this. Again, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's causing this leaf curl. That leaf there actually looks like it's not getting enough nutrient, which is odd. Because again, I'm using the tomato formula by Miracle Blend, or excuse me, Master Blend, and the stream is strong there, no problem. But what I wanted to show you was this little guy right here. Isn't that a pretty little plant? That's actually a sucker. And it's probably been the 4th video past when I made one to update you, and I was going through cutting off suckers, and there were a few rather large suckers that I cut off. And I cut that one off, and I thought, man, that's a beautiful plant. And I just stuck it down in the gravels, and it never wilted. And look here, if I can get the light in there where you can see or not. Can you see that little white strand right there? That's the root. It's already down to the bottom of the bucket. It's amazing. See, I've tried many times in the past to start suckers, and I've actually done that. And I've actually transplanted them in the garden, in soil. But I'd set them in a jar, and it'd always get algae in it. And I'd put a little bit of nutrient solution in it, and sometimes I even use a little bit of aspirin in it. But anyway, and it would grow out roots, and you could transplant it. And I thought, well, shoot, I got nothing to lose. And I stuck it in there, and there it is. Beautiful plant from a sucker. So they're growing marvelous. Now look, I want you to look at this right here. You see that right there? That is a sucker on a leaf, on a stem. It's not a flower pod. It's not a sucker that comes out in the joint, like you can see where I cut one off right there. Suckers always come out in these joints. There's one out on a leaf stem. That's just remarkable. And it looks like it's going to develop a flower pod. We'll leave that and just see what happens. That is interesting. Seems like I see something new every year that I do this. I wanted to get over here, and you can see I'm kind of getting crowded out here. My walkway. Oh, it's hard on the knees to do this. I filled up the reservoir just like what I showed you there here several days ago, and I came down a couple days later to check on things, and all this area and the floor here was flooded, to my dismay. And I got to looking, and this bucket right here was plumb full of water floating, and it was overflowed. So when I got to inspecting, if you remember, these overflows come out of the bucket like that. Well, they go inside into an elbow like this, and this standpipe has holes drilled in it. And I did that to keep the thing from getting clogged up and doing exactly what this bucket did. But somehow a root got through the little tiny hole, and it plugged the elbow, just the elbow, and right here's the plug. See that? It plugged up the elbow. And I want to show you something else here, if I can get the light to do just right here. I want you to look down in here. Do you see that big blob of roots? And that's not really a large mass yet, but you can see what these roots do. So anyway, I just wanted to give you a little update. There's a cucumber we'll pick tomorrow. There's another one we'll pick tomorrow, good Lord willing. But there's one. Right there's another little one. Right there's another little one. There's actually a little one right there, along with that one that needs to be picked. So as I said, in spite of the damage that these cucumber plants have suffered, they are bearing remarkably well. So, and a lot of leaves going to have to trim off. But hopefully next year, maybe we won't have the problem with the thrips. And we'll really see how they bear then. All right, folks, thanks for your time. I'm back again, folks. This is July the 8th, and it's about 9 o'clock in the evening. And you can see that these cucumbers are just growing like mad. And I'm trying to keep the suckers cut back. And you've already seen 2 or 3 there I need to harvest even this evening. I took up about a third of a 5-gallon bucket this morning. And I gave some to the neighbors. Mary Ellen's made, I don't know how many quarts of pickles she's made. I'll have to find that out and maybe just put it on the screen in a caption. But anyway, you can see up there. And you can see all the tomatoes. If I can back up a little bit right here. They are doing wonderfully. And funny thing, remember this row right down through here was the Dorothy orange, and all those down through there were Cherokee purple. And then all that row back through there is black creme. Well, funny thing, these Dorothy orange are ripening red. So some doofus misidentified the envelope with the seeds in it. So I've got an extra row of Cherokee purple. But they're good eating. I just got through. Look here. That will be ready to pick tomorrow. That big gnarly one there's growed around the stem there, stalk. I'll probably have to just cut it, slice it to get it out, so I don't damage the plant. But I just got through mixing up 100 gallons. Now, I'm not exaggerating. 20 5-gallon buckets. And if my math is right, that's 100 gallon of nutrient solution. These cucumbers are consuming 15 gallon of nutrient solution per day, as are the black creme, the Cherokee purple and the black creme on the other side. And some more right there. And oh my goodness, there's a humongous one right up there. Let's see if I can zoom in on that. I should have picked that this morning. See it hanging right there? My finger up here. Right there. I got to pick that one for sure tonight. Get on back here. And now some of them's not filling out just right because they're on little sucker vines, but they're way out on the end. I'll just let them go, harvest what I can. But it's remarkable again. You can get another angle with that one. That's a big one there. I don't know how I missed that this morning. But anyway, they're doing well, very well. Especially considering all the damage they have endured. And you can see how the leaves are deteriorating on the bottom. And I've cut a bunch of them off, which is why there's no leaves on this stalk, see. I've had to cut the leaves off. But they just keep on growing. And I'm having problem here with aphids moving in on my pepper plants. And let's see if we can zoom you in. See all those little bumpy things there? Those are those nice little pesky aphids that destroy your plants, which is what they're doing. And I've been spraying this plant and a couple more regularly with insecticidal soap. Now the soap done wonders for curtailing the thrips, but it doesn't seem to be doing as well with the aphids. I think I'm going to go up to the house and mix up another batch and mix in a dose of neem oil as well and see how they like that. So anyway, that's what I'm going to have to do in addition to picking a few cucumbers here. Here's this sucker vine. See how this is down off of the main vine up there. Comes down here. And it's like I said, it's a sight how many I've already picked, even this morning. But anyway, I just wanted to let you see how they're doing. And there's that pepper plant over there in the corner. We'll go down through here. And I still don't know what's causing the leaf curl like this right here. And if you recall, this is the one that I've said was so strange because it had the little sucker vine here out in the middle of a leaf stalk here, leaf branch. And it's growing. Look at that. I just want to let that go to see what it does. Because that is so unusual. And then again, here is there's the one that I started, the sucker, and just stuck it down in the bucket. And it took right off. I need to get a clip around it right here, because it'll soon break over, grow real crooked. Pardon me while I do that. I kind of have the mind if I don't do it, right when I'm thinking about it, I'll forget it. Now, that'll keep it going good. Alright, and you can see how I've had to, let me find a good example here. Yeah, like right here. And I have to clip these up because he gets so heavy to break the stalks off. It starts out as a leaf pod and grows into a branch. So I've got two real nice tomatoes on this branch to here, and I think this one's sitting right here because they'll look like that right there if they don't. And then I've got two more right here along with this sucker. Get rid of that. So there's another little sucker right there. But anyway, if that one sits, and maybe one of these, that's four. There'll be four in that stalk, and that's about all you want. Just four. And there's another big sucker right there coming out. There's another thing that's amazing. I can go over these plants, and in 2 days there'll be big suckers like that right there. It's just unbelievable how fast they grow. Oh, look here. Look there. And then here was one that I missed because it's around behind the plant. 4 nice big tomatoes on that branch right there, and it broke because I didn't get it clipped up. But it's still connected. So I'm hoping they'll go ahead and ripen. And there's that one. They're going to have 2 days, that will be ready to eat. And I've got some blossoming rot on one right there. I need to get that off the vine. Well, all right, I've consumed a lot of your time. Here's another example of what I've done here. Having to hold all these tomatoes up, try to keep them from breaking the vine just terribly. And there's another sucker already, look at there. Alright, so I've been working myself silly trying to get my transitioned over into my new van. It's not new, different, new to me. Work van, get my ammo switched over. So when I get that done, I'll probably have, maybe, that's a big maybe. Maybe I'll have time to stitch all these videos together and let you see all this together. Alright, I'm going to go. And thank you for your time. Till next time, see ya. Well, I wanted to give you another update. This is August the 22nd. It's about 8:15 in the morning. And I know it's been a long time since the last video. I guess to steal a line out of Loretta's famous song, a lot of things have changed since way back then. Number one, the cucumber plants, vines they've played out. As you can see, they are dead. There's a couple that still have just a little bit of life in them, and one there, and then there's one up here that yesterday I pollinated a few cucumbers on it, but the next thing to do is to tear all these out, and I may leave that one at least that I can have here in 2 or 3 days, a few more fresh cucumbers while the new ones are starting. And so now I want to show you something here. And again, you can see how I've pruned the tomato plants, pruned the branches off up fairly high. Again, a lot of things have changed, but they're still bearing, as you can see. Like, look at these little tomatoes right here, and even these right up here, these little tiny ones coming on. And one of the things I think I'm learning from doing this is that when you grow tomato plants outside, then you have the pollinators, the bees, to come in and work, and you get all of your blossoms pollinated. So you get more of a yield, providing the deers don't come and eat them, which is why I moved in here. But in here, in this environment, there's a lot of times the humidity is too high, and thus the blossoms will not pollinate. And there are times even that the humidity is so high that the plants will, I think aspire is the term, they'll sweat. They will literally drip water off of the leaves and stuff. And see, when it gets like that, then the blossoms won't pollinate. And if they don't pollinate in a certain amount of time, they fall off. So you don't get as much yield. But anyway, we've got a ton of tomatoes off of these, and made a lot of juice and paste to use through the winter, making chili and so forth. But anyway, the taste, these Cherokee Purple and the Black Creme, I've never tasted a better tasting tomato, better flavor. They're just fabulous. But I wanted to show you something right here. Do you remember over there on that row, there was a plant that one of these branches had a little sucker growing up out of it? Well, it grew up, I'll try to get back here a little bit. It grew up about yay tall. That's a technical term, yay. And I eventually just cut it off, because now those little suckers are growing out like hair on these branches. Let me show you what I mean. Look at this one right here. Try to get to where I can see the camera and my finger. See these right here? And then look back here at these. See that? Look how tall those are. I pruned all these off last Thursday. This is Tuesday. I worked Friday and Saturday. Okay, so I pruned all of these off Thursday. And that's how much those suckers have grown in less than a week. And already needing to go back over them. So, and it is what it is, I reckon. There's one. I need to pick that one. It's so ripe, it's splitting open right there. But again, those are just fantastically flavored. And even here's another little one right here that's coming on. But I prune these up, the tomato branches, and even the cucumbers too. But I prune these branches up as they grow taller. I mean, look at that one there. I need to prune the top of that one. But anyway, that allows more nutrients to go to the top of the plant and the fruit, and it allows for airflow, a lot better airflow through here. And you can see right there, another sucker. Okay, now you remember I told you that I stuck down a sucker over here, and it took off growing. Well, this is the plant right here. Back up a little bit. That's the plant now. How about that? That was from a sucker. And I just stuck it down in the little gravels there and put water on it. And that's what I did. Well, that's what I did back here. By the way, you'll notice there's no more pepper plants here. Well, I've got one in the corner. And it's covered with aphids, which is what happened to the pepper plants down through here and the one in the front. I could not get rid of them. And I mixed up a solution of neem oil, insecticidal soap, and citric acid. And apparently I put too much citric acid in it because all the leaves fell off. And it still didn't kill the aphids. So next year, good Lord willing, I'm going to put my pepper plants in this center row right here, get them away from this outside wall, and hopefully the ants won't come in and farm the aphids and get them started. Another thing I learned was, and I watched it on a YouTube video, that was mixing a little bit of borax with apple juice. Well, that didn't work. They wouldn't touch it. So I mixed some borax with honey, and they ate it up. And that's what I've got way up there in the corner. You probably can't see it on here. You can see that piece of wax paper laying right there. There's still a little bit of that on there. But they just had a continuous stream of ants going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth on that wall plate there, that sill plate, and farming on those 2 pepper plants up there. And I took those out. But once they took that honey, they're gone. So there is your cure for ants. Mix borax with honey. And they will eat it up. They carry the borax back to the colony, feed it to the rest of them, and it kills them. Now, the one thing that I did learn from the video I watched was borax in any amount is lethal to insects and these little predators. So that's true, and that worked. So next year, again, Lord willing, I'm going to have, like in that corner and this corner, I'm going to have a little bait of borax and honey mixed together, and up there in that corner too, just in case the ants start to come in. Hopefully I'm going to try to treat around the outside with something, but you know, ants, they can bore under anything and get inside anything. So if they get in, then maybe they'll go after the sweet stuff. So anyway, that's where we're at. And again, you can see the plants. I mean, they still look not that great, but that's the way they've always looked. And I don't know what causes that. It may be sunburn, which would not be surprising because I don't have a shade cloth to put on the roof, and it gets hot in here. Even with the fans are running, it still gets really hot in here. I was down here yesterday morning, I believe it was, and picked 2 or 3 things, and like at 7-ish in the morning, it might have been a little bit later than that, but the fans were running. It was that hot, and I looked and it was 91 degrees, even early in the morning. Right now it's cloud cover outside, and it's, I can read the thermometer up there, it's 76 degrees and it's 86% humidity. So even that right now, it's too high to pollinate. But anyway, that's where we're at. And again, right here, and I'll cut away one or maybe both of those. There's 3 there on that stem. And we've got 1, 2 growing right there. We've got 1 right here. There's 2 or 3 up there. But I've pollinated several of these, and I'll see which one's taken off of growing and cut away the others, because that's too much. You can't feed 3 on one little sucker vine there. They just don't grow. So anyway, and then that's again the next step to do is to take all these vines out. There's a cucumber hanging right there, and see that's what they do when they don't get enough nutrients. They grow very abnormally. But there's several good bites in that one. It's still good. It still tastes the same. It's just not a nice big long cucumber. So anyway, that's where I'm at, and you can see the progress that's been done. And I may show you a video later on after I get all of these dead vines taken out, just cleaned up, take a vacuum cleaner and sweep all these blossoms up and just clean the mess up and get a new batch going. And right here, again, I tried to get, I planted red pepper flake seeds, hoping one would grow, but it didn't grow. But I do have some cayenne pepper seed, which is another thing I want to grow some of next year. And what I may do is put my bell peppers in this center row and maybe go over to that row and put some cayenne peppers growing over there while we get a set of cucumbers growing here, and then rotate them out instead of planting everything all at once. And what I'm going to have to do is be sure I get some Dorothy orange tomatoes for sure next year and have them on one side and Cherokee purple on the other. And again, another thing I've learned is there's no point in having Cherokee purple and black creme because they are so similar. I can't really tell a difference in the taste, texture, hardly even in the color, because they are so similar. So there's just no point in just grow one, and that'll be fine. And that's my goodness, look at the suckers. All right, so that's where we're at, and Lord willing, I'll show you another video when we get this tore out and the new cucumbers started, and we'll watch them grow, and then put these things together for a video maybe at the end of the year. I'd planned on doing it earlier, but I think I'll just do it at the end of the year, and maybe try to see how long that I can keep things going into the winter, especially without heat. Anyway, till the next video, thanks folks for watching. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
This one here is actually a very small root mass, but interesting to look at the stem, the roots that are growing down. They almost look like they're braided. did right there is I baptized in that pot. So it's been sanctified and cleansed with the washing of water and hydrogen peroxide. The seed is already in this little block. Just put it in the center. Like that, hold my finger over the opening of the block. And I have the hydrogen pebbles, which I've also baptized. And they are in a solution of water and hydrogen peroxide. So there, that's ready to go. Got it in the hole, turn the water on, ready to go. So it's rinse and repeat 7 more times, and then the same thing on this row over here. Only I'm going to put, these are cucumbers. On this side over here, I'm going to put the long red hot cayenne peppers. So we'll see how they do.
Well, folks, I hadn't had any updates for quite a while now. This is November the 2nd. It's between 10 and 10:30 in the morning. And as you can see, the temperature there is 56. It dipped down real cold here last night. Low to mid 20s. And I had to have some heat. So that's why I've come down here this morning to turn it off. The temperature is up to about freezing now, but it's plenty warm in here. And from the last video, you remember I set out the cucumbers, not a one of them came up. That's why that row is blank. I'm going to assume that the reason was when I put the seeds down, it was just too hot. That's the only thing that makes any sense. But anyway, I had several cayenne pepper plants come up. They're looking really nice. They're blooming, as you can see. And so I don't know if I can keep the cold away long enough for them to actually bear or not. It's going to take a while because I don't know why peppers are so slow at growing. And this row back here has been shut off for a long time. This row right here still is producing a fruit now and then. And so I turn the water on, the pump on, and let it circulate for just a little while, and they keep hanging on. I even got one right here that's turning right there. And it's not very big, if you can see by the size of my hand. It's not very big, but guess what? When that gets ripe, that's plenty for a sandwich. For me, anyway. I'll take to work with me. And then back here, as you recall, I had set these plants out as suckers that I'd cut off other plants. And look at that. They have grown tremendously, and they are having some decent fruits on them. And so this is why I'm trying to keep these plants from freezing, to have a few more tomatoes, and they're still blooming. Look at there. Blooming, and there's a little tomato coming on right there. If I can keep these from freezing, these things will grow for a long time yet. There's another one right there. But anyway, that's where I'm at. And anyway, like I said, I came down here to turn off the heater, and hopefully it'll get pretty warm in here today when the sun gets up just a little bit higher. It's starting to peep through right now. So anyway, that's where we're at. November the 2nd. Cold outside. And of course the cold has killed my beans in the garden, but we got a really good harvest off of them. They produced magnificently, and had several cannings of beans. So we've got some beans to last through the winter. All right, so we'll see how things go from here. And again, thanks for your time, folks, and watching. Really appreciate it. Well, surprisingly, it is January the 16th, and it's around 8:30 in the morning. And it's about 15 degrees outside with a couple inches of snow on the ground. And I've got this little heater going right here. You can see I've got it on the low. And it's obviously ran all night. I just can't let my tomatoes go. As you can see how they've grown. since the last video, and I've got some that you can see right there, nice ones that are they're turning. I've had a few just small ones, but these larger ones now are finally starting to turn. Here's another one right here. And you can see the size of them relative to my hand. Of course, the leaves, you can see the leaves are splotchy, and well, what can you expect? Getting down sometimes near freezing in here before I would get the heat turned on. And they're not getting near as much daylight as they need. But goodness, look how they've grown, and still growing, and still putting out suckers right there. Need to cut that out. You see these tomatoes, just look how many big tomatoes, nice tomatoes hanging there. Here's some more right here. And I couldn't let them go. The peppers didn't do any good. They bloomed like crazy, but they just didn't produce. It's just too cold on them, and so I've turned them off. They're still green though. But anyway, this is where we're at. Maybe here in a few days we'll have a few nice big tomatoes to cut up. Let me see again how big this one is. All right, that's where we're at. Thanks for watching.